whether you grew up with him or you grew up watching him.
Yes.
And during that time, in 1981, everybody watched The Tonight Show.
He was our claim to fame.
I didn't watch a lot of him. It was gone too late. Yeah. We had bedtime hours when we were younger.
I mean, he had a love for Norfolk, and that is obvious when he came back.
Johnny Carson loved Norfolk. He never forgot Norfolk, and he was proud of his heritage.
I think he loved Norfolk, yes.
There was quite an attachment. So it was a big deal. It was a big deal for Norfolk.
Do you remember the interview to be Johnny Carson's secretary?
Oh, that we were really going to be
That we were going to be
yeah.
Johnny Carson's secretary. And so I thought I had one thing in my closet that would work to be interviewing for Johnny Carson's secretary. Of course, I had to have a new suit. So I put on a tan suit, brown shirt, heels, hose, the whole thing, and I knocked on this door at the Holiday Inn. And I heard this commotion in this doorway. I could hear these guys talking loudly. And I thought, I've got the wrong door. I've got the wrong door. And all of a sudden, this woman opened the door, and her hair was bone straight. She had a cigarette hanging out of her mouth. She had a sweatshirt on that was crumbled and jeans. And she said to me, "What do you want?" And I said, I'm sorry, I have the wrong room. I'm here to interview to be Johnny Carson's secretary, and I must have the wrong one. She said, "Come on in." It was just a disaster. I have never had a worse interview in my life. I said, "Do you have any questions for me?" And she said, "If you get this job, will you dress like that every day?" And I said, "No, I wouldn't dress like that every day." And she looked at me and she said, "Do you own a pair of jeans?" And I said, "Yes, I own a pair of jeans. I own a sweatshirt, probably not as crumbly as yours, but I do, and I wouldn't dress like this every day."
And of course, the Johnny Carson secretary, you're thinking you're going to go alongside him,
right.
you're going to be right with everything, and that was not what it was. But what we were is we were staff, we were local staff, and it was a great experience and eye-opening experience because Lynn and I talked about we were like the country mice that went to the city because where they would do these pieces and then this piece, and then when it got put together, quite an amazing project, and I was glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, there's the old bike shop. Started at 8 years old working in that shop.
How you doing?
Hello, Johnny.
You're Doris, right?
Yes, I am.
And you're Vic.
Yeah, there's my mom, Dad. Swin shipped a bicycle out of their museum. That was an Ace bicycle, and it was very similar to the one that Johnny bought from my grandfather, Ace Nelson. And it was shipped in and highly insured. Before all this filming was taking place, my mom and dad was the class of 43 with Johnny, and my mom was really, didn't know what to say at first, but it was kind of an ab-lib deal.
Right here. No, not that way. You'll hurt yourself.
There I am. I was 16. I was my junior year, and I was on my lunch break and happened to see his bus. And when he came out of the bicycle shop, everyone was just screaming. And he actually picked me out of the crowd and wanted me to ride with him. There was a gal, I believe, next to me that said, "Me?" And he said, "No, the blonde."
Keep your feet up.
And he just kept talking the whole time, and he asked me if I was comfortable. And I said yes, and then I just kept saying, "I can't believe this." And he said, "Why? It's happening." And I said, "You're Johnny Carson." And I said, "Look how happy he is."
And people were trying to meet him, and we're excited just to be able to see him in person, so.
I don't know if we can catch ourselves in there, Lynn, where we were standing.
Yes.
But we got to watch this part.
This part. Right. We got out of the office.
Yep.
I was late getting back to school, and I got a detention. But it was worth it. Believe me.
Once they got done filming that, I actually got to talk to Johnny a little bit, and he really impressed me that he was very sincere that he truly enjoyed growing up in Norfolk. And, and I could see it came from the heart, so I thought that was pretty cool. And he told me, I wish I could just live like I used to, but I can't anymore because of his fame. And
Good morning.
Good morning, Johnny. How are you?
You're Dick?
Right, Dick Adams.
Hi, Dick. How are you?
Real good.
Did you have my appointment?
You bet.
There's Grandpa and me.
And Dan, you can see over in the corner,
Sitting on the chair, right?
dark hair and black mustache.
I'm wearing old guy hair now, but back then I more looking like the Beatles, The producer, David Lowe, came into the restaurant all the time, the Brass Lantern, and getting ready for this thing. And Grandpa came in every Thursday night. They struck up a conversation and found out that Grandpa had a pretty quick wit, too.
You're 87?
Yeah,
You're looking mighty good for 87.
yeah, better than you.
So my job was to get him down to the barber shop and then pretend like I'm going to get my hair cut. And it looks like I needed a haircut. So I'm sitting back in the corner. And this was it was unscripted. It was just talking. Carson was so sharp he knew exactly what to say next, and Grandpa was pretty good too.
I just remember the weather got chilly. It got chilly
Cold,
out.
cold.
They got Johnny a really nice winter coat, but we were buying mittens and scarves.
And long johns.
That's
Long johns. We had to buy them all long johns, and Sheila and I decided that we would buy 2 pairs of pink ones for us. And so we got these underwear, long underwear, and we put them by the door of the office, and they were all supposed to pick them up. And when we got out to go to the bus, there was only 1 pair of pink long johns left and an extra large one. And I remember walking up there and saying, "Who has on the pink long johns?" And they all raised their hand.
Oh.
And I said, "No, you don't. Now, somebody has to give us those long johns." They all laughed, like, "You won't want them now." Do you remember that? They were so funny.
And the memory of that football game. That was
Right.
pretty fun.
Football game was fun.
I was a senior.
You were a sophomore,
I was a
right?
sophomore.
There you are, Shelley,
There I am.
with your cute hair.
I curled my hair a lot back then.
And the hairspray.
Oh, we fight for thee! Wah, wah, wah!
He remembers the school song.
With all our might.
This production crew came over to where we were and said, "Hey, Johnny wants to come out and cheer with you girls, but he doesn't know any cheers, so he wants you to teach him a few so he knows what to do." So we had to go in his camper and teach him cheers. And he was very funny. The whole time he was just very funny. We were laughing the whole time.
I was bad in spelling.
There's Norfolk.
Well, look, the state of Nebraska.
Is this a cake?
And then they brought out a big cake. Yeah. And when it was all said and done, he went around to each one of us and kissed us on the cheek. And my dad took a picture of it. So I have a picture of Johnny Carson kissing me on the cheek.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Now we're going to turn left on South 13th Street. Ah, yeah, there it is. God, I love that house.
That house, of course, Jim McKenzie bought it.
Yeah, and what does he ever plan to do?
Do I have a plan for the house? No, I don't. I drove by the house for many, many years, and I watched it slowly deteriorate, and I just made the leap. I said, if somebody's going to maybe renovate it, maybe I'll take that challenge on. And I didn't realize how big of a challenge it was going to be, but I wanted people to be able to drive down Johnny Carson Boulevard and see Johnny Carson's house and see that it was well cared for and that it was maybe a spot of pride in the community, as Johnny is a huge spot of pride for Norfolk, Nebraska. And I mean, he had a love for Norfolk, and that is obvious when he came back.
We were fortunate as a community to have a favorite son like that it was so successful that never forgot his roots.
There still exists out here in this country an openness and an honesty and a sense of warmth that you feel inside.
I think he loved Norfolk, yes.
Norfolk really meant a lot to him.
We're blessed to have him.
You saw into his heart about his childhood.
And that's what I think the story is. It was just such a amazing experience for everyone.
That pretty much says it all.
Oh, there's our jackets.
Oh, there we
there's
are.
mine.
There I am on the left, and there you are.
Oh, I can, yeah, I'm
You're
right
there
there.
on the right, yeah.
Well, you forgot the part that he paid us $1. Well, we had to sign a contract because we were under contract to be in the movie.
I had to sign paperwork, and then they paid me $1.
My dad actually got a check in the mail, and it was a payment for every time they showed this. And even though he'd been dead since '91, he'd been getting a check sometimes for 1 penny.